That night, everyone in America seemed stuck to their TVs, watching two big politicians argue like it was a boxing match. It wasn't just talking, it was a huge fight where every word mattered a ton. Senator Adam Schiff, who's super against President Trump, got so mad he walked off the stage. He couldn't handle it after his opponent hit him with a tough comment. And who said that comment? Senator John Kennedy. Kennedy's sharp words about Trump got the whole room buzzing and showed everyone the big power fights happening in Washington. Before I tell you more, say where you're watching from in the comments and hit subscribe so you don't miss any juicy stories. The stage was super bright, lights shining on a packed room where everyone was getting excited. The host walked out, looking sharp in a suit, smiling big like he was born for this. His voice was warm and grabbed everyone's attention. Welcome to tonight's show. We've got two big guests, Senators Adam Schiff and John Kennedy. The cameras zoomed to two podiums in the middle where the lights focused. The host stepped up, his voice getting serious. Adam Schiff, the guy who's always calling out Trump with his super-smart lawyer brain, is here to talk about a big issue, Mr. Obregón Garcia, a legal immigrant who got sent out of the country without a fair chance. He paused, letting the room feel the tension, then turned. Facing him is John Kennedy, a senator who's tight with Trump, known for his clever talk and quick comebacks, like a chess pro. Is the Garcia case a real problem, or just a big show? Adam Schiff walked to his podium, looking serious, holding the microphone tight. His voice was strong, like a lawyer ready to make a big point. Tonight we need to get one thing straight, he said, looking around the room. The Trump team did wrong to Mr. Obregón Garcia, a legal resident, by sending him away without a fair process. This isn't just a whoops. It's a huge problem showing Trump's team is misusing power, and it shakes what our country stands for. He stopped, his voice getting quieter, like he was holding back anger. The Supreme Court said Mr. Garcia should come back, but Trump's team ignored it. Why? That's what Trump's supporters need to answer tonight. The spotlight moved to the other podium, where John Kennedy stood with a little smile, his eyes super sharp. The host, super smooth, leaned toward Kennedy. Senator Kennedy, what do you think of Schiff's point? He asked, keeping the vibe lively. Kennedy grabbed the microphone, leaning back, his eyes twinkling like he was about to tell a great story. Folks, he started, his voice slow and friendly, I like Schiff, but he's making a tiny thing into a huge deal. The Garcia case, just a mistake, nothing big. Calling it a power grab is like saying my dog's a lion. The crowd laughed and clapped hard. Kennedy kept going, his tone nice but sneaky. Schiff talks about fairness, but Mr. Garcia had 17 court hearings, costing taxpayers a ton, and didn't pay a cent himself. If that's not fair, I don't know what is. He raised an eyebrow, looking right at Schiff, like he was daring him to talk back. Schiff frowned, gripping the microphone tighter but staying calm. Senator Kennedy, he said, his voice cold, you call it a mistake, but sending a legal resident away wrongfully isn't small. It's against our Constitution. And when Trump ignores the Supreme Court, he acts like he's above the law. How do you defend that? The Democratic crowd cheered, but Kennedy didn't back down. He leaned forward, still smiling, his eyes sharper. Schiff, I'm not defending. Mistakes. If it's wrong, say so. But you're acting like Trump's ruining everything when really, El Salvador's President Bukele said Garcia's not coming back. What do you want Trump to do? Send soldiers to El Salvador, or are you just trying to get attention? The MAGA crowd went wild, one guy yelling, That's right, Kennedy. The host jumped in quick. Senator Schiff, how do you answer Bukele's refusal to help? Schiff took a deep breath, his eyes showing a bit of stress, but he stayed strong. It's not about Bukele, he said firmly. It's about Trump's team. The court said Garcia should return, but Trump did nothing. This is a pattern, ignoring courts, putting tariffs that hurt Americans. He switched gears. attacking Trump's tariffs. These tariffs make prices higher, hitting the middle class. Trump calls it a win, but regular people are paying more. Kennedy, can you tell your voters why they should pay extra? The crowd got loud, some raising hands to agree. The host, keeping things smooth, turned to Kennedy, eyes shining, ready for his answer. Kennedy gave a little laugh, like he heard a funny story. Schiff, you think people don't get tariffs? They know other countries have been taking advantage of us forever. Trump put tariffs on to make the EU, Japan, and others talk deals. Now 40% of the world's begging to cut tariffs. If that's not a win, I'm a flying pig. The crowd went crazy, shaking the room. The host, keeping the show moving, asked everyone, Senator Kennedy, you talk about wins, but Schiff says tariffs hurt people. Schiff, got any proof to back that up? Schiff, looking serious, answered fast. Proof? Look at the crazy high. And prices for food and electronics. Americans are paying for Trump's so-called deals. He calls it winning, but it's gambling with people's money. He stared at Kennedy. Senator, do you dare tell your voters they should pay more just so Trump can brag? Kennedy shook his head, still smiling. Schiff, you love making. Things sound bad, but you're missing something. Trump's bringing jobs back to America, building factories here. People are okay with a little pain now for a better future, not letting China take everything. The crowd cheered again. The host, sensing things getting heated, changed the topic. Both sides have big points, but let's go deeper. Schiff, do you have proof these policies are on purpose to abuse power? Schiff cleared his throat, his voice sharp but calm, like a lawyer ready to win. Folks, he started, looking from Kennedy to the crowd, the Garcia case is just the start. Trump's team ignores court rulings and messes with money markets. Look at Trump's Truth Social post, pumping up his own stock right before the market jumped. That's fishy and needs investigating. Who's winning? Not regular people, but Trump's buddies. The Democratic crowd clapped loud, some raising hands. The host, super smooth, leaned to Kennedy. Senator Kennedy, Schiff just made a big claim about market tricks. What's your answer? Kennedy, with a small smile and sharp eyes, grabbed the microphone, his tone easy but cutting. Schiff, you're great at scary stories, he said like he was joking with a friend. You make Trump sound like a bad guy in a movie, but what do you have? A social media post. By that logic, we'd investigate everyone when I brag about my mum's soup. The crowd roared with laughter, one yelling, Well said, John! Schiff didn't budge, his eyes getting harder, his voice sharp, like a knife. Senator Kennedy, you can joke, but people aren't laughing when prices hit their wallets. Trump's tariffs make food and cars cost more. Your voters are paying because of him. And don't forget the JFK files thing, a trick to make Trump look good, not about truth. He paused, staring at Kennedy. You're defending a president. Who cares about himself, not the country? How do you explain that to your voters? Some stood cheering. The host jumped in quick. Senator Kennedy, Schiff brought up tariffs and the JFK files. Got an answer for voters? Kennedy tilted his head, smiling but with sharp eyes. Schiff, you love playing the hero, but people aren't dumb. They see Trump doing what others didn't. Tariffs make the EU and Japan beg to talk. That's strength, not a personal game. As for JFK files, Trump did what Democrats only talked about, showing the truth. He paused, staring at Schiff. Or are you scared the truth makes you look bad? The crowd went wild. Applause everywhere. One, waving a Trump 2024 sign. Schiff, looking tense, took a deep breath, struggling to stay calm. Senator Kennedy, he said, his voice a bit louder, you call it truth, but I call it a trick. The JFK files didn't fix anything. It was Trump dodging his failures. And tariffs? They make Americans pay more while Trump's friends get rich. I want a clear investigation into that Truth Social post. Do you support that? The host, sensing the heat, jumped in. Senator Kennedy, Schiff wants an investigation into Trump's post. Do you agree we need more openness? Kennedy chuckled like it was a silly idea. Openness? Schiff, you talk like you're perfect, but you've chased Trump for 10 years, from impeachment to now, and what do you have? Just stories for headlines. If you want investigations, why not check what the last president did with our money? The crowd roared again, some shaking their heads. Schiff, eyes flashing with anger, shot back fast. Kennedy, you can hide behind jokes, but people deserve the truth. When Trump boosts his own stock, he's thinking of his wallet, not voters. You're a senator. You should demand answers, not cover for him. He pointed at Kennedy, his voice strong. Whose side are you on? The people's or Trump's? The crowd booed and clapped super loud. The host, calm but in charge, raised a hand to quiet them. Folks, let's let the senators keep going, he said, his voice rising and falling, keeping the energy high. Senator Kennedy, Schiff asked, whose side you're on? What's your answer? Kennedy, still smiling, grabbed the microphone, his voice slow and sarcastic, like a friendly storyteller with a point. Look, Schiff, he started, you make Trump sound like a movie bad guy. But let's be real. You talk about market tricks and tariffs hurting people, but where's the proof? Got anything real, or are you just telling stories to keep folks watching? A woman in a red hat held up a Trump is the best sign, firing up the crowd. Schiff clenched his jaw, his fingers tapping the podium, showing he was nervous. The host, super smooth, jumped in. Senator Kennedy, you're asking for Schiff's proof. Senator Schiff, want to answer with details. Schiff stood tall, his voice strong but a bit rushed. Senator Kennedy, the truth is obvious, he said, staring at his opponent. Trump's tariffs make prices sky high. Families pay more for food and cars. And that Truth Social post, it wasn't just a post, it was a plan to boost his stock while markets went wild. You call it confidence, I call it a problem. How do you defend a president who puts his money over people? A few shouted, well said, Schiff, as the room got supercharged. Kennedy didn't back down, leaning back, brushing his jacket, still smiling. Schiff, you keep talking about hardship, but you're pointing at the wrong guy, he said, his voice loud like a preacher. Tariffs, they've got China, Japan, and Europe running to talk deals. That's not hurting America, it's making us strong. And the Truth Social post? That's just Trump being Trump, talking big. You want to talk problems? Why not look at the billions wasted on bad projects before Trump? Or is that too close to home? The host, quick to keep things moving, jumped in. Senator Kennedy, you mentioned past presidents, he said, his voice calm but sharp, keeping the crowd hooked. Schiff, how do you answer the claim you're only after Trump? Schiff narrowed his eyes, standing firm, ready to hit back. I'm not here to play dodge games, he said, his voice clear like a lawyer in court. This isn't about the past, it's about now. Trump's actions, from ignoring Garcia's court order to tariffs that help his friends, show he's misusing power. Senator Kennedy, are you with the people or just covering for Trump? An audience member stood, raising a fist. Kennedy, eyes sharp like a card player, leaned forward, his smile tougher. Schiff, you love playing the good guy, but people aren't fools, he said, his tone like a cozy storyteller. They pick Trump because he acts, not sits, while other countries take our jobs. Tariffs bring work back, protect our borders. You keep saying abuse of power, but I'll ask straight. 10 years chasing Trump from impeachment to now. What do you have besides talk? Or are you just heating up the stage for votes? The crowd went nuts. Applause loud like waves, one person filming on their phone for social media. The host, sensing the heat, raised a hand for quiet. Folks, he said, his voice rising and falling, we're seeing a hot debate. Senator Schiff, Kennedy challenged your proof. Can you give more details? Schiff, eyes angry, took a deep breath to stay calm. Kennedy, you can use your friendly talk to dodge. But people deserve the truth, he said firmly. When Trump ignores courts, raises prices with tariffs and posts to make money, that's not leading. It's wrong. Do you dare tell your voters they should pay for Trump's stunts? The host, smooth as ever, kept the energy up. "Senator Schiff," he said, eyes sweeping the crowd. "Kennedy asked for clear proof against Trump. Can you explain, or is this just your anti-Trump fight?" Schiff took a deep breath, gripping the podium, eyes determined but stressed. "Host folks," he started, his voice loud, each word careful. "I'm not here for games. I'm for truth. Trump didn't just ignore the Garcia court ruling. He's making life harder with tariffs that raise prices. And his Truth Social post? Clear proof he's putting his money over people. That's not leading. It's wrong. I want a clear investigation, and I challenge Kennedy to support it if he cares about people." The Democratic side cheered, some standing with raised fists, one yelling, "Save Justice Schiff!" But Kennedy, cool as ever, leaned forward, his smile sharp like a hunter. He grabbed the microphone, his voice slow, like a storyteller with a secret. "Schiff, you talk big like a lawyer," he began, eyes locked on Schiff. "But let's be real. You've been after Trump since he started, from 2019 impeachment to now, throwing out every claim, power abuse, market tricks, JFK stunts. So I'll ask clear, do you have one solid piece of proof Trump put himself over the country? Or are you just making drama for votes while people want a leader like Trump who acts?" The crowd exploded, cheers so loud it shook the room, one waving a "Trump makes America great" sign. Schiff, for the first time, looked shaky, a bit nervous in his eyes. He opened his mouth, voice wobbly, trying to stay strong. "Senator Kennedy, you want proof?" he said, voice rising to hide nerves. "The proof is the high prices people pay. The proof is Trump's post, boosting his stock before the market jumped. And the proof is your silence, Kennedy, when you won't call for an investigation. You're not with the people, you're with Trump." But Kennedy, like a fighter seeing weakness, stood up, a big move that hushed the crowd, everyone staring. "Schiff, you talk about standing with people," he said, his voice cold. No more jokes. "Let me tell you about people. They picked Trump because he acts, brings jobs back, makes China and the EU beg for deals. You keep saying proof, but I'll ask again. In 10 years chasing Trump from impeachment to now, what do you have besides empty claims? If you're for the people, why not check who really hurt America before Trump? Or do you just want the stage to play hero?" Some Democrats tried to shout, but the crowd's noise drowned them. Schiff, face red, eyes shaky, tried to answer. "Kennedy, you're dodging," he said, voice trembling, gripping the microphone tight. "I'm not here for your games. People deserve truth, and I'll keep demanding answers." But his words got lost in the crowd's cheers. The host, quick to act, jumped in as Schiff lost ground. "Senator Schiff," he said, voice low but pushing. Kennedy asked a direct question. "Can you give specific proof like he asked?" The crowd went quiet, waiting. Schiff opened his mouth, but his voice broke, eyes scanning the crowd like he needed help. I've made it clear," he stammered, confidence fading. "The proof is Trump's actions, clear for everyone to see." But his words got buried in boos from the mega crowd, some yelling, "Speak, Schiff, where's the proof?" Kennedy, with a winning smile, sat down, eyes shining like he won a game. Schiff, face super red, stood there, eyes burning but stuck. Suddenly he dropped the microphone on the podium, making a loud thud echo through the room. "I'm not here for cheap games with you, Kennedy," he shouted, voice cracking with anger. Without another word, Schiff turned and stormed off the stage, leaving everyone shocked, cheers super loud. Someone raised their phone, filming Schiff's exit for social media. The host, calm and in charge, raised a hand for quiet. "Folks," he began, voice warm with a bit of drama to keep everyone hooked, "we just saw something wild." Senator Schiff left the stage after Kennedy's sharp question. "Kennedy, anything to add?" Kennedy, super chill, gave a small shrug, like it was no big deal. "I just wanted clarity," he said, like chatting with a neighbor. "People want leaders who act, not fairy tales. Trump does that, brings jobs, protects borders. I asked Schiff a simple question, but seems he didn't like his own answer." The crowd went wild again, shouting, "Kennedy #1. A young guy filmed it on his phone for social media. The host, quick to keep things moving, changed gears. "Folks," he said, voice serious but fun, "let's hear from you. Who wants to share?" A middle-aged guy in a MAGA hat stood super excited. "Kennedy showed Schiff the truth. He's got no proof, just talk." The crowd cheered, but a young woman, a Democrat, stood up. "Schiff's trying to protect us. Kennedy's just covering for Trump." Boos and cheers clashed, shaking the room like a big fight. Backstage, Schiff stood alone in a dim hallway, the studio's lights far off. He clenched his fists, eyes mixed with frustration and strength. "I can't let them win like this," he muttered. A young aide, looking worried, came up. "Senator, you okay? People are talking out there." Schiff turned, eyes strong. "I'm fine," he said, voice firmer. "This isn't over. People need the truth, and I'll keep going." But deep in his eyes, he wondered if he let anger take over. Meanwhile, social media went crazy. Posts spread fast, hashtags trending. One wrote, "Kennedy destroyed Schiff. No proof, just talk." A Democrat shot back, "Schiff walked out because he couldn't stand Kennedy's games." Short clips of Schiff dropping the mic and leaving went viral, shared thousands of times online. The host, feeling the wild energy, stepped up to connect with the crowd. "We just saw a top-notch debate," he said, voice rising and falling, eyes sweeping the room. "But is this the end of Schiff versus Kennedy or just the start?" He paused, letting everyone think, then turned to Kennedy. "Senator, what do you make of Schiff's walk-off?" Kennedy, with a thin smile, answered, "I'm not here to attack anyone. I just wanted truth, and seems Schiff wasn't ready." Applause roared again, but some Democrats stood, leaving their seats, like they couldn't handle Kennedy's win. The studio got quieter, but the air felt heavy. A journalist in the corner wrote fast, working on a story called Schiff Retreats. Before Kennedy's killer question, a mega fan filming on their phone whispered to a friend, "This will be big news all week." Backstage, Schiff, calming down, told his aide, "We need to plan the next step. Kennedy won this round, but I'm not done with Trump." His eyes, though tired, burned with fight. The host, super smooth, closed the segment with a big question. "Folks, who's right, who's wrong? Share your thoughts. We'll be right back." The cameras cut, lights dimming, but the crowd's murmurs stayed, like a hint of a new political storm coming. In a small waiting room, Adam Schiff stood quietly, eyes deep in thought, hand running through messy hair from stress. The crowd's cheers still stung, like knives reminding him of walking off before Kennedy's tough question. He leaned against a cold wall, breathing slower, but his eyes still burned. "I can't let them control the story," he whispered, like he was convincing himself. He thought of years fighting Trump, from the 2019 impeachment when people called him a traitor online, to now as a California senator pushing for accountability. "They want me to give up," he muttered, "but I won't stop." An aide, looking worried, knocked softly. "Senator, the press is waiting out there," she said carefully. "They want to know what you think about what happened." Schiff turned, eyes firm but with a tired smile. "They want a big headline," he said, a bit bitter. "But I'm not here for drama. Kennedy may have won this, but people need truth, and I'll keep saying it." He picked up his phone, scrolling through posts of him leaving the stage. One said, "Schiff flees from Kennedy, out of tricks." He gripped the phone tight, then sighed, setting it down. Far from over, he told himself, eyes flashing with fight. Meanwhile, at another part of the studio, John Kennedy stood with a crowd of fans, camera flashes like stars. He shook hands, smiling wide, voice warm like a friendly neighbor. "Thanks for being here," he said, eyes shining. A young reporter held up a recorder. "Senator Kennedy, how do you feel making Schiff leave the stage?" Kennedy tilted his head, smile sharp but slow. "I didn't want anyone to walk away," he said, like telling a story by a fire. "I just asked for truth. If he couldn't answer, that's not my fault. People want leaders who act like Trump, not empty claims." The crowd clapped, one yelling, "Kennedy, you're a legend." A guy in a Trump shirt patted Kennedy's shoulder. "You taught Schiff a lesson." Kennedy smiled lightly, but his eyes showed he was thinking. He remembered his years in the Senate, always backing Trump through tough times. "We've got to keep America strong," he told the crowd, voice firm. "Trump's doing that, and I'll keep supporting him." But in his mind, he wondered if Schiff would come back stronger. Outside, a group of Democratic supporters buzzed with talk. A young woman, frustrated, said to a friend, "Schiff was trying to protect us, but Kennedy made it a joke." An older man, a Schiff fan, shook his head. "He shouldn't have left, but I get it. Kennedy played dirty. Schiff will come back stronger." Those words, like a promise, stuck in Schiff's mind as he sat in his car, staring out, planning his next move. On social media, the debate kept spreading. One post said, "Kennedy taught Schiff how to lose," with a clip of Schiff walking off. A Democrat replied, "Schiff left because he couldn't take Kennedy's circus. He'll be back." Hashtags took over, turning the event into an online fight. In Schiff's office, his aide opened a laptop showing posts. "We need a strong message, Senator," she said. Schiff nodded, eyes firm. "Write that I'm not giving up," he said. "People deserve truth, and I'll keep fighting." Kennedy, at his hotel, sat alone with coffee, scrolling articles. A headline said, "Kennedy crushes Schiff in talk show battle." He smiled faintly, but his eyes showed thought. He thought of voters trusting him and Trump leading a divided America. "Just keep telling the truth," he told himself, voice low, knowing Schiff wouldn't stay down. At Schiff's office, city lights twinkled outside like stars. He sat at his desk, laptop glowing, face showing years of fighting Trump. Socials. Media was still wild, posts of his exit with mean comments like, "Schiff falls to Kennedy." But in his heart, a fire burned. He grabbed a pen, writing, "The truth never gives up." Schiff knew today's loss was just one part of a long fight. He'd come back with sharper talks, new investigations to hold Trump accountable. "People need me," he told himself, staring at the horizon where a new day was coming. At the same time, outside the studio, Kennedy stood under streetlights, surrounded by excited supporters. Laughter and claps rang out as he shook hands, smiling big, but his eyes hid thought. "Thank you for your support," he said, like a dad giving advice. A young woman with a phone asked, "Senator, will you keep defending Trump?" Kennedy paused, smile fading a bit. "I defend what's right," he said, voice low but strong. "Trump's doing that, bringing America back, but we've got to stay sharp." His simple words raised a question. Was he ready for new challenges as Trump and Schiff kept fighting? On social media, the talk show's aftermath spread like a storm. Hashtags like "Joe Kennedy Triumph" and "Schiff Falls" took over. Clips shared millions of times. One post said, "Kennedy showed Schiff who's boss." A Democrat replied, "Schiff will come back stronger. This isn't over." These words rippled through a divided America, each side thinking they had the truth. In Schiff's office, an aide walked in with papers. "Senator, we have new info on Trump's Truth Social post," she said, hopeful. Schiff nodded, eyes flashing. "Prepare a statement," he said, voice strong like steel. "We'll demand a public investigation. Kennedy won on stage, but truth will win with people." He stood, looking at the city lights, a reminder the fight with Trump and Kennedy was far from done. In another part of the city, Kennedy sat in his car, phone glowing. A text from a Republican friend said, "Great. And job, John. You gave Schiff a lesson." Kennedy smiled, but it faded fast. He thought of voters counting on him to protect their needs. Trump, with his bold moves, was their hope. But Kennedy knew every win brought pressure. He typed back, "Thanks, but we've got to keep working." He looked out, eyes thoughtful, wondering what Schiff, with his strong will, would bring next. The host outside the studio talked to the production team. "This show will be big for a long time," he said, eyes shining. Schiff and Kennedy didn't just argue, they showed. Two Americas. He looked at the night sky like he saw the political fights coming, where Schiff and Kennedy, like fighters, would clash again. But in the city's twinkling lights, a question hung. Could these two and the country they spoke for ever agree? Or would they stay stuck in endless fights? The story of Schiff and Kennedy's big clash on the talk show, with Schiff storming off after Kennedy's tough question, shows how divided America is today. Debates aren't just about ideas, they're emotional battles. With Trump in his second term, the split between MAGA and Democratic fans, seen in the crowd's wild reactions and viral hashtags, mirrors America. Social media makes fights bigger, turning debates into attention wars. Schiff, pushing hard for accountability on the Garcia case, tariffs, and Truth Social Post, stands for those who want fairness and clear rules. Kennedy, with his friendly style and loyalty to Trump, stands for bold action to protect America, even if it's messy. Schiff's walk-off wasn't just anger, it showed how crowd and media pressure can trap even a strong politician. The lesson here is that in today's America, where political fights get hot fast, staying calm and sticking to truth is key. Schiff, even after losing, stays determined to come back, reminding us to hold on to what we believe, but control emotions to avoid personal attack traps. Kennedy, using humor to dodge, shows how smart talking can shape what people think, but it shouldn't hide truth. Every American, from the talk show crowd to social media users, should listen to both sides, not let online posts twist feelings, and focus on real talk to bring people together. Please hit subscribe to follow big political fights like Schiff and Kennedy, and share your thoughts on truth in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video to check out more moments shaping America.